Have you ever seen a camera that you felt like it was specifically made for you, and no matter what you did or what you tried to do, you couldn't stop thinking about that specific piece of gear? Well, this video is about that specific camera for me. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it right now. So it's no secret that Fujifilm is blowing up right now, and deservingly so, because Fujifilm makes some super creative and rad cameras. However, that is not the reason that I bought this camera. I have a long history with Fujifilm using their products on and off. In fact, I am probably the biggest advocate for Fujifilm's stupid Instax cameras that is not a teenage girl. However, from the first time that I saw this camera, it was love at first sight. The only problem is I didn't see this camera until 3 years late. And in the camera world, that is an eternity. That almost makes this camera vintage. I'm not sure how I missed it, especially since all the big YouTubers that I follow made videos covering it, but I guess it was probably just because over the last couple years I've had a lot of things going on, specifically putting out short films and just doing some freelance work, as well as some other big projects I've had going on. So why did I buy a 3-year-old camera? Well, we need to address that, and we need to talk about my gas. We're not talking about that type of gas, we're talking about gear acquisition syndrome. The need to buy gear constantly. So I think this was more than just having gas, and here's a quick story. So if you don't know my work, I shoot basically anything and everything under the sun. I shoot bands, weddings, I shoot travel, I shoot architecture, I shoot candid stuff, I shoot a little bit of everything. And I think, honestly, that had led me to being burned out when it came to photography. So I sort of made a video talking about this in this video linked up above. But basically, I needed something to reignite my passion for photography. In a world of super polished cookie cutter photographs, I really just needed to find something new or reinvent my style, so to speak. So I began digging through my back catalog of photos and finding the photos that really made me feel something, those photos that brought me the most joy. And lo and behold, they weren't the super polished shots of models or branded content or of amazing places or even of bands, things that are exciting to me, right? They were of the candid lifestyle shots of places I've been with my family, friends, and just those everyday photographs. Those are the ones that really captivated me and really reignited that passion for photography again. So as I started looking at lesser known photographers on YouTube, Vero, and Glass, I started finding these photographers with smaller followings like mine, but I actually enjoyed their photos a lot more. And this led me to a lot of street photographers. Now, street photography is something I've always sort of dabbled in, and I've always sort of just viewed at a distance. And I'm not really becoming a street photographer per se, more or less, my photography is in a mix-up of weirdness right now. But I will say that I really respect street photography to the highest degree because it is, in a sense, photojournalism. It is just documenting real-life, everyday stuff, and to me, that is super exciting. That type of photography that can't be duplicated. You can't get those pictures unless you're in that exact moment, on that exact day, with that exact person at that exact time, and to me that is awesome. So what does that have to do with me getting this specific camera? So as I'm watching all of these photographers, I'm noticing that they're all shooting with these vintage rangefinder style cameras, and I've always loved those type of cameras. For example, my Minolta AF2 Highmatic 35mm camera, as well as some of my other film cameras that I have here in my studio, and as well as the FUJIFILM X100T. I shot with that a little bit in 2015, and I absolutely loved that little camera. But I always looked at those cameras as more of consumer cameras, more point and shoot, and less suited for the serious photographer. But I was wrong. So after researching modern rangefinder style cameras, I came across a video by a YouTuber named James Popsis. This dude has tons of followers and subscribers, and honestly, I'd never heard of him before in my life, and I immediately subscribed to his channel because he seems super rad. But he was talking about why did he buy the FUJIFILM XPRO3 in 2023. So I immediately clicked on this camera because I hadn't ever heard of it. I know, I must have been living under a rock. So he was talking about why he bought this camera, and it really resonated with me because he was talking about he wanted a fun camera. That's exactly what I needed in my life. I have Sony mirrorless cameras, I have Blackmagic Cinema cameras, I have a bunch of different cameras, but I really needed something that was fun and something that added a little bit of eccentricness to my shooting style. Especially, I needed something that was EDC that wasn't an iPhone. So after I watched his video that initially made me fall in love with this camera, I did what every sane person would do, and I watched every single video, literally every single video on YouTube covering the XPRO3. And that includes the 1.5 hour long documentary by Fujifilm themselves covering this camera. So I did what made the most sense, and I bought the camera immediately without ever holding it in my hands, which is about the dumbest thing that you could do. I highly recommend renting cameras and seeing how they fit your shooting style before you buy them. Now, luck was on my side, and I actually love this camera, and I've been shooting with it for about 3 weeks, and it has actually inspired me to get up off my ass and go shoot photos. It has actually made me excited to go shoot photos again, and to me, that is absolutely priceless. So why is this camera so rad to me, and why is it making such a difference? So first and foremost, if you guys have watched any of my back catalog of videos, or you've been a viewer for a long time, you know that I talk about shooting with a minimal kit. And for a camera, I really wanted something that was EDC, something for everyday carry, so something small. And that really made me want a rangefinder camera, something with a smaller lens that I could easily slip in a hoodie pocket or in a small bag. I'm a big proponent of carrying a small sling bag or a fanny pack to put all your camera gear in and just taking a few things with you. But with that said, I also wanted something that was professional, something that was robust and versatile, and something that had some power behind the small form factor. And this camera is a professional camera. So I don't want to talk too much about specs, but I want to show you guys my specific model real quick and kind of talk about why I wanted this one in particular and what I like about this camera and some of the controversy surrounding it. All right, so here you have my specific Fujifilm XPRO3 camera, and you can't tell me that this isn't a damn good looking camera. I purchased mine in the Dura Black color variant, and these come in a normal black variant as well as a Dura silver. However, if you opt for one of the Dura coated versions, it gives you a scratch resistant top plate. And to me, that's extremely important for an EDC camera, especially when you're going to be wearing it on your shoulder all day or just possibly shoving it in your pockets. You want to preserve the longevity and the look of the exterior of your camera. So with that though, there is a caveat that the Duracoat does pick up a lot of fingerprints. However, if that bothers you, you can just wipe it down. So furthermore, I don't want to get too much into specs on this camera in this video, but a few that I want to talk about is it has a 26.1 megapixel CMOS sensor, has a fast autofocus system that will rival any modern camera out there, and it has an optical viewfinder and an electric viewfinder hybrid viewfinder for however your shooting style is, and it shoots 4K DCI video at 100 megabits per second. So again, this is a photography first camera, but it can do video if you want to go out there and get some quick clips when you're shooting photos. All right, so when it comes to ergonomics, I have medium to large size hands, and this camera fits in my hands perfectly. But if you need some more grip, you can buy extended grips from Fujifilm or third parties. I just haven't needed them yet. Looking at the top of this camera, it has a real old school film analog look to it, and I love shooting this way with these dials. You have them for shutter speed, ISO, you have a custom button up top and an exposure value comp button up here as well. So Fujifilm has made it to where you can have a dual card slot in the XPRO3, and it's really cool because you can run RAW photos to one and JPEGs to the other simultaneously. Here's the big controversy when it comes to this camera. It is this sub LCD screen on the back with a hidden larger LCD screen. Now you can get this to show your film simulations here or just have regular camera settings. I like to show my film settings. That's just the way I like to shoot. So folding down the rear LCD screen is actually a very nice screen, and it is also touchscreen. So that's the big controversy surrounding this camera. For me, I really enjoy it because it keeps me from chimping and it keeps me locked in the moment on what I'm shooting. So even though this camera is 3 years old, like I said, it has motivated me to go out and shoot, and it has really made me excited about photography more so than any other camera I've had probably in the last 5 years. So I have cameras that I want to deem as video specific cameras, and this one is a photography specific camera. So we're going to be doing a lot more photography on this channel, just like when the channel started, doing some photo walks and stuff like that. If you subscribed for the editing stuff, that will still be here too, because editing, filmmaking, and photography, those are my passions, and all three of those linked together is what I do. So, but I will start incorporating more photography and cinematography stuff in the channel. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, and I want to talk about the importance of always not buying the newest gear. It's okay to go back a couple years. It's okay to go against the grain and get stuff that may not be popular in the now. Just get stuff that fits your shooting style and cameras that inspire you to pick them up and go shoot. That is extremely important. However, if you guys are getting value from this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss any more killer content from the Drewxcifer channel. As always, guys, talk to me down in the comments. Let me know what you would like to see and what you think of the FUJIFILM XPRO3. But as always, stay rad, just go shoot, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.